What up, everybody? This is your girl, Shanae Artist. Thank you so much for tuning into my live video today. I was trying to figure out how to share this while I'm live, but I don't know how to. So, let me see. I don't know how to, so I'm not even gonna mess with it. But I want to thank you guys for joining me today. This is Shanae Artist, author of This Is Not My Life, 10 Steps to Overcoming Fear and Adversity. And I'm so excited because every Friday now, I am going to be doing a fearLESS Friday post live just to share some information about my book, to answer some questions that I have received from people who have either gotten access to they've downloaded their sneak peek, or people who just have questions about overcoming fear and adversity, about my book, about me, or whatever. So every Friday you can catch me live at 8 a.m. So make sure you're here, and I will be doing these fearLESS Friday live videos. So today, what I'm going to be talking about, the question I got was, what is my favorite step in the book and why? And so last week, if you saw the episode last week, I was talking about what was the hardest part of writing the book. So now this week is, what is my favorite step in the book and why? And so when I was thinking about this question, I was excited because there is a part in my book that I absolutely love. And the whole book speaks to me and my process and my journey of overcoming fear and adversity, learning how to overcome fear and adversity. But this part was really important to me, and it really spoke to me because not only is it something that I've personally dealt with, but I know a lot of people that still deal with it. And I think it's something that we deal with all the time. It's never something that magically disappears, but it's real. And so my favorite step in the book is called Recover from Identity Theft. Okay, recover from identity theft. And one morning I was praying, and right before I got up off the floor, I heard clear as day, I heard God say identity theft. And that is how I recover from identity theft got into the book. And that's how I started to think about what it meant to have my identity stolen, and to be a victim of identity theft. What did that mean? And so what I started to do, I started to research, I started to pray about it, I started to think about it, and it became clear as day to me what God was trying to say to me in that moment, and what I believe he's saying to all of us as it pertains to identity theft. So I know firsthand, right, that when you experience any kind of trauma, adversity, it doesn't matter how big it is. It could be abuse. It could be tragic, somebody passing away. It could be something like you losing your job, or losing a friend, or a relationship failing, or something like that. Anytime you experience a situation that is traumatic to you or adverse in some capacity, it really takes a toll on how you see yourself. And a lot of times as people, we say things like, we don't care about the things that may happen or the people that may walk away. And eventually I think you get over those situations. But initially, it takes a toll on the way that you see yourself, especially if your husband leaves or your wife leaves. It makes you wonder, what's wrong with me? Why doesn't this person want to be with me? I'm bad. Is something wrong? If you experience some type of domestic violence, you wonder why, you feel worthless or something like that. So it takes a toll on the way we see ourselves, and the way that we see ourselves really impacts the way we treat ourselves. Because when we don't love ourselves, when we don't see ourselves as valuable, as important, or something of the sort, we tend to, it shows in the way that we treat ourselves and the things that we do. And so how you see yourself, how you treat yourself also impacts the way you allow other people to treat you. And then at the end of it all, the course of the life that you live. And so I know firsthand what that experience is about. I know how that feels. I know what it looks like, and it's painful, right? And I also know that when you're not clear on who you are or the value that you possess, you tend to live your life off of pretenses. And then you become susceptible to believe anything that people tell you. So if you don't know who you are, you may look to other people to validate you. And just because somebody says something about you doesn't always mean that it's true, right? I'm getting into my notes here. But it's important that we recover from whatever it is that we've gone through that has allowed us to believe or to take on an identity about ourselves that's just not true. Okay, so a lot of times, especially as women, and I'm talking to the women here. Good morning, Janine. A lot of times when we experience these negative things, we feel worthless, right? We feel undervalued. We feel inadequate. We may feel rejected and all that type of stuff. And as women, when we start to feel like that, we tend to seek our validation of who we are in things that tend to make us feel good in the moment, but eventually they make us feel worse than we felt in the beginning. And when I say that, I mean, there's a number of things. Men, right? Material items, men, casual sex, drugs, alcohol, fake friends, anything that kind of fills that void and makes you feel valuable for a moment. Again, like I said, at the end of it all, those things are really only temporary. And so it's so important that we recover from whatever it is that has made us believe these things about ourselves, because God did not create a worthless thing. God did not create undervalued things. He did not create people that were inadequate. He did not create us to be rejected. Even if we are rejected by friends and family and things like that, he still has a family for us. And so it's important that we know that, number one, but even when we know that we believe that, because if we truly believe that we are worth something, that we are valuable, that we are adequate, and that God, no matter who rejected us, God has included us in his family, then we will treat ourselves better. We will live our lives in a different way, and we will cause other people to respect us and follow suit. And so it's extremely important, and I know I keep saying that, but it's extremely important that we recover from whatever it is, that we recover from identity theft, okay? So in the book, I give you specific steps on how you can begin that process, right? This morning, I'm going to give you 3 things to keep in mind as you begin the process, because my hope is that you will get the book and then you will read the full step, and you will take the necessary steps to start overcoming whatever it is, domestic violence, abuse, tragedy, rejection. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is that has made you feel that you are worthless or undervalued or inadequate or rejected, take the necessary steps to learn to overcome that. So when you do that, keep this in mind. And I tried to keep it under 6 minutes today, but it didn't happen. So I'm going for under 10, okay? So 3 things I want to share with you guys to keep in mind as you begin the process of recovering from identity theft. Number 1, we got to know that what people say about us or have said about us is not always true. Right? And I don't care who it is. It could be your parents, your friends, your pastor. It does not matter. The things that people say about us are not always true. And a lot of times we take on a false identity based on what somebody has said and what they think about us, when that doesn't mean that it's true. People often judge other people from their own defective lenses. Ain't none of us, and I said ain't none of us got it all together. So there's only but so much validation somebody else can give you. That's why we have to seek our true identity and who God says we are. Okay? So people often judge others from their own defective lenses. And what I know to be true is that if somebody says something to me that does not line up with who God says I am, I do not believe that. I don't care who you are. If what you say does not line up to what God says about me, I don't believe it. Because I too have found myself listening to what people say. Oh, I think you got this problem, or oh, I think you're this, and it's like you get boggled and you run around in a rat race trying to figure out who you are, unhappy, unfulfilled in yourself based on what somebody else says. And that person could be projecting their own personal beliefs about themselves on you. And so it's important. If God didn't say that about you, don't believe it, because it's not a guarantee that it's true. Okay? Number 2, your past experiences are not the sum total of your existence. Our past experience, me experiencing abuse, me even making bad decisions that I've made throughout my life and all the wrong things that I've done, right? They are not the sum total of who I am as a person, who God created me to be, or what it is that he's placed me on this earth to do. Okay, right. We got to know what God says about us. what I've gone through, what I have experienced was a moment in time. Our experiences are moments in time. They are not baggage that God wants us to carry around forever, right? At some point, we got to put the baggage down, bag ladies, because y'all know we carry a whole lot of stuff. We got to put them bags down and let them go. Okay? And when it comes to recovering your identity, who God created you to be, who you are in Him, you got to put the bags down, because you can't carry the bags and try to be a new person, because them bags are weighty and they're heavy and they're useless because you don't need them anymore. Okay? So experiences are not the total of our existence of who we are or who God has created us to be. They are moments in time. Some of those moments are lessons. Some of those moments are situations that have happened because other people have made choices to do things that have negatively affected us now. However, that was still before. It's not now anymore, and we have to learn to let those bags go. Okay? Hey, team of girl. How you doing, girl? Okay? So number 3, your identity can only be found in your creator. Right? Not even our parents, because sometimes our parents ain't 100%. I'm a parent, and I know I ain't always right, even when it comes to my daughter. So she has to find her identity in who Christ has said she is. I have to find her identity in what God says as I pray for her and ask Him to reveal that to me so that I can raise her right. But your identity can only be found in your creator, not in who other people say you are, not what your parents may say that you are, not in the experiences that you've gone through, only what God says and who He says. And if y'all read your Bible, it's all up in there. It's all in there. Who you are, what God says you are, and all of that. And there's one thing that I always say when I talk to other people about this topic. Man can't validate what he didn't create. And that's just the truth. Man can't validate what he didn't create. If the person did not create you, they are not your creator. They cannot validate your reason for being. They cannot validate all that you have going on within, because you can't even validate it half the time, right? That's why we be looking to other people. So it's important that we know if we want to find our true identity, we need to go to God. We need to be praying, asking God. And I've done this several times, and I will continue to do it until every time the issue arises. God, who am I? Who have you created me to be? And I remember there was a point as I was writing this book that was legit my prayer. Who am I? Asking God. I mean, I know what people say about me. I know what I feel sometimes, but who am I? Who have you really created me to be? And the truth is that true identity will only come from Him, not from people, not from places, and definitely not from things. So not from materials, not from men. Casual sex ain't gonna do it, because as soon as he get up, your feelings are back, not good, right? Not from drugs, alcohol, because as soon as the high come down, it's over. Not from fake friends, because as soon as they backstab you or talk about you or what have you, it's over. I mean, let's just be real. We've all had them. So it's important that we find our true identity and who God has created us to be. So I'm about to get out of here because I'm 13 minutes, y'all. I talk too much. I talk way too much, okay? And I wonder why my daughter do it. But listen, if you want to grab a copy or a sneak peek into my new book, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of this video. I will be back next Friday with another episode. I don't know what the question is going to be. So if you have a question for me about this topic, about the book, about me, about whatever, shoot it to me and I will be sure. You can send me an inbox and I will, thank you ladies, and I will be sure to answer it maybe on my next live. So I hope you guys be blessed. I hope you have a fearless Friday, meaning fear will always be in our lives, y'all. We will never get rid of fear because it's just there, but we can learn to fear less. Okay, so I hope you guys have a blessed day. My book will be launched August 3rd. You can purchase it. So be on the lookout for that. And I will chat with y'all later. Peace out, y'all.